The On Target Institute presents a teaching from the Men on Target small group curriculum. Now with today's session, On Target founder Vince D'Acchioli.
Well, hello men. How you doing? Welcome to OTI, Men on Target curriculum. This is going to be an introductory session for Module 4, sessions 25 through 32. I want to encourage you to please go to otm.co and you can download the notes for this session and all the others as well. And you can also find out about what it takes to become a member of the On Target Institute. We have some exciting things to share with you and want to encourage you to go there. One of the reasons why we do an intro session, by the way, is to help you understand over the next 8 sessions some of the things that we're going to be dealing with. And you can make notes, and in your discussion time, you can talk about what of these upcoming sessions would perhaps be most important for me, and actually take those things to prayer and say, Lord, in these sessions that are coming, please prepare my heart for better understanding some of the things that we're going to be talking about. Over the next 4 sessions, we're going to be talking about facing trials. And then we're going to enter into a man and his series. We're going to start with a man and his wife. There's 2 sessions there. Then we're going to be talking about a man and his family. And we'll end finally with a man and his kids. But in these next 4 sessions, we're talking about facing trials. There are 4 different parts. Each one of them, we're going to preface it with this saying that I came across a while ago, and I think you'll resonate with this. It says, only God can turn a mess into a message, a test into a testimony, a trial into a triumph, and a victim into a victor. And I believe that is true. Well, back in 2008, the Lord gave me a word, and I'm very hesitant to say that because some people wonder about how do you get these words from the Lord. And I got to be honest with you guys, I've only really recognized the Lord really speaking to me powerfully that I can honestly say this was really from God probably less than a dozen times in my whole life. But this one was profound. It was in 2008 going into 2009. I was praying and asking the Lord how I should approach this next new year. And he said this, he said, my people, the meaning you and I, my people are not prepared. And I remember I wrote that word down and I wondered, what does that mean? My people are not prepared. Well, if you recall, in 2008 going into 2009, we ended up having that big financial crunch. And people were really, really concerned and filled with fear about their future. It ended up causing a lot of marriages to really crash and burn because we have a tendency to blame our circumstances on what's going on in our life. And someone said one time that trials in life do not make a person, they reveal them. And little did I know at that time that that word was really meant for me. It wasn't long after that several things happened in our family where we had some serious trials to overcome. A business that we were in failed. My wife's mom, who'd lived with us for about 20 years, ended up passing away. My daughter had a little baby Elle, we called her, and she was pregnant with her first little girl. She has 2 little boys, desperately wanted this little baby Elle. And on the day before that baby was to be delivered by C-section, the baby died. And it was a traumatic situation in our family. And so Cindy, as a result of that, a few months later contracted what many believe was H1N1 double pneumonia. They believe her body was very vulnerable for all the things that she'd been going through. And that started about a 4.5-month hospital stay. Most of the time she was in a coma, and she was given 0 chance for survival. Super Bowl Sunday, I'll never forget that day, 2010. Super Bowl Sunday, the doctors got me into a side room and they said, Vince, there is no possible way your wife is going to make it. Well, after the whole thing was over and she miraculously came through, this was an unbelievable story. God shared with me 6 things that he really wanted me to understand as we went through this. And as I unpack these 6 things in these sessions, I really believe that they're going to bless you in a major, major way. Here they are just quickly. I had to come to terms with, are you believing and expecting? The second thing he tried to teach us is, do you have a thankful heart in the midst of your struggle? Vince, do you have a thankful heart? And then he tried to help me understand the importance of letting go and not trying to control things myself. Have you come to the end of yourself? This has to do with humility and something that he was trying to work in me in a powerful way. And then have you asked God to show you your lesson? That was another word that came from me. It was like, Vince, I want you to make sure you don't miss what I'm trying to teach you in the midst of this struggle. Powerful, powerful idea. And then at the end, he was helping me understand this question: are you watching for the simple? We tend to be watching for the major things God does. We tend to be complaining that we don't see more of his miracles. And what he was trying to teach me is that sometimes the miracles are in the simple things that we tend to ignore and to set aside. We end those sessions with talking about what I believe is the secret to life. It's simple, but yet it's profound, and it's something that I use to kind of culminate what God brought us through during that time. Well, those are the first 4 sessions, and then we get into a session 29 and 30 where we talk about a man and his wife. It's in 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. And we talk about how in part 1, men and women differ, and they differ in 4 different ways. We differ because of the result of our past life experiences. We also are different because of our physiological makeup. Men and women are wired very, very differently. And there's a humorous way that we unpack all of that I think you're really going to enjoy. And then the third area where we differ is our fallen nature, which is the second part of this 2-part series, going all the way back to the garden and the differences between men and women's fears and needs as a result. And the fourth area has to do with our natural gifts, which we have already been through, and we'll just put some finishing touches on how our natural gifts influence the way we relate to each other as men and women. But our fallen nature in the second part of that series is really, really something that's very profound that we've been teaching now, Cindy and I, in couples events for years. And as a result of the curse in the garden, men and women have different fears and different needs. A man's need for significance and a woman's need for security, there can be a tremendous tension there if we don't understand these needs and fears and live them out appropriately. And then in session 31, we're going to be dealing with a man and his family. We're going to be talking about how a man has to live out 3 offices in his home. A man is being called to be the family prophet, the family priest, and the family king. And we talk about the implications of that in the way we approach our families. And we go all the way back to the Old Testament and how the Lord is calling us to be those 3 people in the context of how we lead our own families. And then we also in that session talk about the 3 lies that men believe. Lie number 1, men tend to believe that my work is a priority. Success is important. And we put so much effort into our work that sometimes our family really misses out. It also leads to the second lie, that money will solve all of our problems. That somehow if I just work hard and make a lot of money, all my problems will dissolve and go away. Another myth, another lie. And the third one is the amount of time I spend with my family is not as important as the quality of that time. And that is a very, very important lie that we need to understand as we move forward. And then we finish with a man and his kids. And I like to suggest, as we get into session 32 and a man and his kids, that the recommended reading, and if you want to prepare for that, I highly recommend you buy Gary Smalley's book, The Key to Your Child's Heart. It's been written many, many years ago, but in my view, probably one of the best resources I've ever found in terms of learning how to be a good parent. In Proverbs, it says to train up a child in the way he should go. And there's an old saying that says it's easier to build a child than it is to repair an adult. We're going to be getting into that as we drill down on what does it mean to be a good dad. How do I look at my children? They are a gift from God, and God loves them, and we really need to understand that. And by the way, guys, I really believe that's a major, major issue in the world we are living in today. The world is taking our kids in a whole different direction. It's very important that as parents, we discover how to stop that drift and keep our kids on the right track as they pursue God and not the world. The life implication, dealing with the trials and understanding how to be a better husband, dad, and family leader is critical, guys, to becoming the man God intended. And of course, you guys know that On Target Institute is dedicated to helping all of us become the man that God intended. I am really excited. These sessions that are coming up are powerful, and I really want to encourage you to prepare yourself for them. And the way you do that is in the life application time, in the questions that you can begin to talk about around your table. Talk about these issues, dealing with life's trials. You maybe you've gone through some trials. Talk to the guys in your group about that, and maybe share a little bit. Understanding my wife. That's very, very important for us to be thinking about as we move into these sessions. Becoming a better dad. And the question for you in your group time today: which of the areas above that we've just discussed are you most needing help in, and why? Talk to your guys about these three different broad categories and talk about which of these areas. Maybe in your case, you need some help with your wife right now. You're going through a real struggle. Talk about that. And guys, I can't stress the importance of this enough. Pray and ask the Lord to visit you powerfully during these sessions. I pray that God really blesses you in your discussion time and prepares you for what's coming. And until then, may God richly bless you, and don't forget about it.